Chris Stewart again for BamaFever.com. I hope you've had a great summer thus far. It has been a while since we've had a chance to visit here on the website. A lot of things going on. First of all, I'd like to talk a little bit from a merchandise standpoint with Bama Fever. Don't forget to do a little shopping while you're online, even if it's just some window shopping right now, as the sideline apparel for the upcoming college football season is already out. The same coaches' polos that you'll see the Bama staff wearing this year is also available right now online on the site, as well as caps and visors, and a great selection of merchandise from Nike, as well as many other famous brands that you've grown accustomed to here at Bama Fever. And you can also find on certain items the Bama Fever label as well. Let's talk a little college sports right now, and a lot of things in the next few days that we'll be looking at from a college football perspective. But as this is being taped, getting ready to watch Major League Baseball's All-Star Game. And by now you are probably aware of Alex Avila and David Robertson's selection for that American League All-Star team, the two former Alabama stars that were part of that 2006 SEC championship team that Jim Wells put together. I could not believe when I read about Avila's initial selection, two things. Number one, that he was the first ever Alabama baseball player to be named as a starter for the American League squad. Frank Larry and Luke Sewell had been named, Larry back in the 60s and Sewell back in the 30s, I believe it was, to the All-Star team. But it was unbelievable to me that it had been 50 years since any Alabama player had been named to an All-Star squad. And then it was great news also that David Robertson was picked up as part of the American League team as well. David Price, the former Vanderbilt star, injured right now with the Rays and not able to pitch. So David was selected, and I think he's well-deserving. When you listen to the other players around the league talk about guys who earned their way on, not the popularity contest, but who had really played their way on, David Robertson's name was mentioned as a setup guy. He's had a great year. 1.27 ERA to go with his 2-0 record right now as the setup guy for Mariano Rivera with the Yankees, and also his 38 appearances with 56 strikeouts. That's more than any other relief pitcher in the game right now. So well-deserving, and the same thing for Avila. As great as it was that there was a huge groundswell of support from the fans around Major League Baseball that got him in ahead of Russell Martin of the Yankees, the players themselves, when they chose their team, Avila was the American League catcher that they voted on as well. So very well-deserving honors for those two guys. Something else you may not be aware of from that 06 team, you had, in addition to Avila and Robertson, Matt Downs with the Astros, Tommy Hunter, who of course pitched in the World Series last year with the Rangers, and Wade LeBlanc from the Padres. When you look back and you go, wow, how did Alabama have such a great year, win the SEC title in 06, and get to within 2 wins of Omaha as they got to a super regional as well? Well, those guys' names that I just read to you were quite indicative of it, but and easy to point out why Bama could make it. You knew Hunter and LeBlanc were big-timers. You knew Avila could hit, but the question was, how would he get to the majors? What position would allow him to get there? And moving to catcher his junior year, which would be his final year at Alabama, a great decision by Jim Wells, and it paid off not only for the Tide, but it paid off for Alex as well, even though it was actually 2 years later that Alex would make that move to catcher. He was a freshman on the 06 team that made its way to the Super Regional. Robertson, you knew, would be terrific as well, along with Hunter and LeBlanc. Matt Downs may be the best story of all, a guy who really had not done a lot as a pitcher through the first 3 years of his career, asked Coach Wells if he could move to a position spot. He said, "Coach, I think I can hit." And boy, he did. Moved to third base and was terrific, and made his way into the pros. First of all, with the Giants, he got to the show and then got traded or picked up by the Astros and has made his way back onto a Major League roster as well. So a little baseball talk involving the Crimson Tide as we are now in the month of July, and actually the All-Star Game set for today. We'll talk a little bit more about this later in the week, and talk about how the guys did, but we'll also spend an awful lot of time looking at Alabama football. Preseason watch lists are out, and they are loaded with former Alabama players. We'll talk a great deal about that in the next few days. In fact, we'll have something for you tomorrow here on the website. Thanks for stopping by, whether it's just to check out the blog or to do a little shopping. It's a great place to stop if you're a Bama fan. I'm Chris Stewart for BamaFever.com.